Neil, sorry, can I get you to come here? I'd really like this on video, please.
I won't be on video.
Yes, you've got to be on video.
This is a body that was made for non-video.
Well, we'll do a headshot.
I'll just say one thing, gentlemen, because you may want to look at this on video later on, that the camera does add several pounds to it. In my case, being such a large chap, it's sort of factorial. You know what I mean? Mr. President, can I just say before starting, I did admit it in the milestone. I'm very sorry. I apologise to you and to the two umpires, Frank Fabris and also Steve Byrne, also first 11 debuts in rounds 1 or 2 respectively. So I'm very sorry. Look, I haven't got many points, but I'd like just to impress upon you about availability. If you haven't got your availability up to speed, please do so. Now, if you don't want to put it in and you're available, that's okay, because if there's nothing in my cricket, I'm going to assume you're available. But please, if you're unavailable, you just make sure you enter it, because it's no good. Well, it is. I mean, if you tell me on Friday afternoon you're unavailable, it's okay. I'll replace you on a Saturday. But it's awkward getting a notice of unavailability for someone late on Friday if it wasn't a personal emergency. No problem. If something goes wrong, you know, on Saturday morning even, we can change things. But if you plan unavailability, please log on to My Cricket and Brian and I and Ken and Jeff are trying to stay around ahead with appointments, which, you know, it just makes everything a bit easier. And if your availability is good data, it's easier to do it. Borna, congratulations. We gave you a clap before. Well done.
Well done.
And look, there are some people who can't do this for whatever reason. And if that's the case, give me a ring, but don't hang up. Stay on the line till I say, I've got that, I've put it in, it's all good. So that's all there was about that. At each meeting, I'm going to try to keep this updated. I just thought you'd be interested. Ian was talking tonight about captain's opinion and that sort of stuff. And so what we've got here is a little chart, and it's only one round, of course, with data. John, is there a pointer on this thing?
Yes, there is.
That's that red button, is it?
Little red button.
Don't point it in my eyes.
Yeah, that works. You can see it.
Oh, there it is. I may as well not work. So this is I'm starting at a scale of about 7 to 4 up to 9. Is it up to 9 or 10? 9. So these are the averages. And if you read across the bottom, this is from all captains, all umpires, all grades. So so north-south first 11, east-west first 11, north-south da. So these are the average scores, the average totals provided, ratings by captains on umpires. And this is only of course one round. But of course next month there'll be 4 rounds. So I'm going to keep us updated and we'll just see how they move. And it might get people who are not keen to travel out of east-west 1. They might want to go to north-south.
No, challenge to get it up.
I think I'm going to appoint myself to south-east 3 quite often if I can manage to do it. So if that's of any interest, we'll just keep this going and there we go. And look, and what we've got now is some direct feedback from captains, and Brian and I were talking about this, and we read all the reports that come in, and Brian is not in touch with everybody every time someone says well done, or every time someone says poor decision, but when Brian does ring you, it's about a conversation about how could you enjoy your umpiring more, how can we make umpiring better for you. But what we are going to show you is some direct feedback from captains, and it's not all the feedback from round 1, but it's a bit, and it's clearly I've got it in 2 separate sections. You know, the not so and the definitely positive. So if you recognise yourself in these, don't, because I've done a lot to disguise them. So here's the feedback example. I can't actually read it from here. I'll stand here. Mick, is that? Am I still in?
Read it off that one there.
Sure. So the first one is, it says some very poor LBW decisions. 7 LBWs for the home sides and none for us. That combined with playing for the boring rain while the home team is having a good patch. So this is a pretty one-eyed sort of a view of the world, but it is the way captains see our performance. By the way, that umpire was rated reasonably well by the captain. Second one, as a senior umpire, should have advised them to speed up as they were approximately 25 to 30 minutes behind schedule, which I think is a very insightful comment by a captain. And then this next one, Mr. Clearcut caught behind, and it was crucial. but made the right call on LBW when blank was set and could have won the game for them. This was to be admired, as some umpires might have crumbled in the pressure situation. Concentration needs to remain, And I thought this was an example of where a captain has taken a stick out, given someone a whack, but has balanced it off with a constructive remark. And you can see there that it's not a campaign against anybody. The captain's actually trying to be quite constructive feedback. The next one is general concentration, ebbed and flowed during the match. Well, welcome to our world. And then some other comments. Good umpire in game, not a heap of decisions to make, but all in all, very good. Very solid game, not too many difficult decisions, but made some good ones and didn't make any bad ones. And then this outstanding game, very calm, good decisions, and some pretty average appealing. Also called us for a no ball. We had one catcher in the first 15. That umpire knows who he is. And based on today, this is another one, he's one of the top umpires in the comp from what I've seen in the past few years. So it's sort of a balance of the flavours that are coming through. And we're showing them because there's a bit of a perception that there's only poor comments come through. And that's not the case. There's a balance of remarks. It is true, Brian, isn't it, that like, if you imagine on a Saturday we get like 56 reports on it every Saturday,
Yeah.
and of those 56, there are comments on 10 of them. So it's vast, we don't get a lot of direct feedback.
Can I just add, Neil and I spoke about this, and Neil ran this by me, and I said, mate, given the workload that everyone's got, so I'm wrapped that Neil wanted to do this, totally endorsed it as such. But one of the things that I've picked up on already, there's a couple of captains, I've already rung a few, I've got some more to ring, where in a game, both umpires just get all 7s, no comments, all 8s, no comments. I'm ringing those captains and I'm going to tell them, if you don't put a comment in, I'm going to change it to 10s. Guess what? They'll start doing it. Because, if they're happy, if that's their top mark, well, they need to let us know. So there's still a bit of education. Now, there's a document that all captains should have received that I sent to Ken Hilton, explaining it was done a couple of years ago and last year, giving guidelines to the captains about how to fill out an umpire's report. So that, you don't want to see where, for example, that one that Neil was talking about, a catch behind or whatever it was crucial, and then the captain gets totally upset and gives a 4. It's just not acceptable. One bad decision in their eyes, 1 or 2 off, that's maximum, that's all it should be, given the context of games, and players will make mistakes as well. But it's insightful, it gives us a real insight as to the average and where it's going, and Neil will be updating this on a regular basis, and I'll be talking to him about certain comments that we want to do. What we're trying to do is be more transparent, open, to try and give you guys as much information as we can. And if you do get a phone call from me, like I asked Neil Croft to come and see me for a minute, the first thing he said, what have I done? It's amazing when you ask someone to come aside or you ring them, and I've had that a couple of times, you ring someone and say, oh shit, Benny, what have I done? Well mate, I'm about to ask you what you've done, I just want to see how you're going. So look at it as a positive, please, if I ring you, not a negative.
So we'll update this each. That's the general flavour of the comments we get. The other comments we get are no comment. A couple of things coming up. JT Craig is on in January, and if you're a new umpire to our association, this is the under 15 competition that we provide. It's run over 2 weeks in January plus finals. It's run on the 7, 8, 9 and 12 of January, the 14, 15 and 16. And because it's a round robin, we've got, it's a home and away series, we need umpires and plenty of them. So please have a look at it and get your availability on My Cricket. We tend to find that the Thursday dates, like the 16 and the 9, they're pressure days. We don't get many people putting their hand up for those dates. So, but we do need to, obviously, to field umpires.
Neil, if we put our availability down for 3 days in a row, can we make sure we don't get 3 days in a row?
Yeah, I don't think. I might have given Patrick 4 in a row last year. I'm not too sure, but he can deal with that. For thoroughbreds like you and I, Mark, that's unlikely to happen. Now, I do try to give people a day off. Clearly, some people put down all 7 days, and they might get 3 or 4 games, 3 or 4 if they're really keen for it. And some people, and there are a couple of umpires that said, I'll do every day. Well, that's fine. But the thing about the Craig is it's not all that onerous, actually. It's not like Country Week. Like no one can do 4 days of Country Week, but no. But the aim is not to give you 4 days in a row. Just a couple of things, and Jeff touched on this, but Peter Flax asked me too. Peter Flax, a fearsome man when roused. There was a dispute with the scorebook earlier in the year, and what happened was that the umpire took a snap of the scorebook and sent it off to Peter. Our rule 20.7 says that's not to happen. In the event of a disputed score, if you've got to the end of the day, at the end of the game, and the match is in dispute, the scorebook must be impounded and then forwarded to Blackie. So don't make that mistake of leaving it there. And look, it's not going to happen in the first and second 11 because you're checking the scores at every break, etc. But in the lower levels, this does happen, and quite a few of us are getting games in the lower 11s. Just make sure that if there's a dispute that can't be resolved, the scorebook needs to be impounded and sorted out by the board. I've had some inquiries about team sheets. You get the team sheets each week, keep them for a week. If Ken doesn't ring you, give it the flick. Just hold them for a week and then out they go. And as for player votes, look, we had a lot of issues in round 1 with player votes. Those matters have been resolved now, Ken told me today. And so apologies for the stuff-ups. Thanks for everyone's patience, and there you go. And lastly, if I could just say this, that we, Brian and I and John, we are part of the Cricket Association, as well as being members of this, but we're part of the Cricket Association. So our business is not always the same business as the Umpires Association, clearly. But on a matter of appointments, if there's any issue about appointments and you think, I haven't got your message, I don't know where you live, that's obvious because I'm sending you from, Rowville out to Rowville to Werribee every week or whatever. Ring me, please don't just assume that I know and I'm being a bastard. Actually, let me know what your needs are, and if I'm not getting it right, I'll try to fix that. So, Mr. President, thank you very much. I think that's it.